All right, guys. So I decided to record. It's golden hour behind me, so I've got I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so to record here before the sun really starts to go down. But this is when the lighting's really nice behind me. It's not as harsh. And I just want to talk about how I turned YouTube into a 7-figure income. And I'm going to go through kind of step by step the most important parts of doing this. And number one is solving problems for the younger version of yourself. So this is actually really important because it just makes it a lot easier if you basically use this framework of just imagining that you had a time machine and you could go back in time and just solve problems for the younger version of yourself. What would you tell them, right? Maybe you could even just use a time capsule and you could record a video and it had to be, let's just say, less than 30 minutes. What would you tell this person? And when you use this framework for making content, you end up making extremely good content because chances are, we're not perfect little unique snowflakes. If you have a problem, chances are there's literally millions of other people out there that have the same exact problem. And if you were able to solve this problem, ask yourself, if you could have told yourself how to solve the problem when you first started having it, how much time, effort, money, heartbreak, emotional trauma could you have saved yourself in that case, right? And if the answer is a lot, then chances are you should do that thing. Now, the reason I say this is because when I first started my YouTube channel, I was multiple 6 figures in student loan debt. I was a pharmacist and I really kind of hated my job at the time, especially considering it was the pandemic. And we got robbed about 3 times in a 6-month period. So I was multiple 6 figures in student loan debt. I hated my job. I was in the process of transitioning actually to a remote job, working remotely when I first started. And so what did I do? I kind of just thought, what could I have told myself when I was younger that would have saved me a ton of time, effort, money, and emotional trauma, right? And what I would have told myself is be very, very careful how you pick your college degree. Because a lot of the stuff that people talk about when it comes to college degrees, I just think it's really idealistic. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to tell you to not do what you're passionate about. But if your passion involves spending a ridiculous amount of money on a college degree, then that's probably not a good idea because there's so many other ways of learning information these days. I mean, you could hire someone who's an expert on something and learn directly from them for the price of a college degree. You could literally get one-on-one tutoring from an expert for 4 years for probably less than the price of a college degree, right? So just let that sink in. And of course, you could always buy the textbooks on your own and they'd be a lot cheaper because you could buy one that's just 1 year old instead of having to buy the brand new one, which they make you do, right? So I just talked about these things and, I'm not going to go on and on about the education system. I think we all know that education system has a lot of problems, especially in the US. A lot of countries, college is free. In the US, college costs an arm and a leg, just like healthcare does and many other things in the US. So there's a lot of big problems with the college system and the education system in the US. But basically, I wanted to warn people about that. I wanted to warn people hey, listen. And I also wanted to tell them hey, listen, you don't have to go and get a super expensive college degree to get a good job. There's other options out there for you. Now, whether you choose those options or not, I'm not here to tell you that you have to, but I want you to know that there are other options out there. You don't have to feel like you're trapped and you have to get this college degree because that's the same way that I felt myself. And that's kind of why I ended up, going from the frying pan into the fire, going from poor to possibly even a worse situation. Because I felt like that was the only way out for me, right? The only way out was to dig myself even deeper, right? I was poor. I was living in Section 8 housing, trailer parks, lived in a dingy basement, was even homeless at one point. And I felt like, okay, my only way out is to actually dig even deeper and get 6 figures in student loan debt to stop being poor. And that's really scary. And that's really sad that people have to feel that way. That's their only way out, And it isn't. Right? There are other options out there for people, and I just wanted to create a YouTube channel to let people know that. Basically, the younger version of myself. Let the younger version of myself know that there are other options and you don't need to feel like you're trapped, right? And so that's what I did. I literally just solved problems for the younger version of myself. And that is how I grew my channel, and that is how it blew up. And that's what you should do as well. Try to solve problems for the younger version of yourself because chances are there's a million people out there that have the same exact issue. The second thing is effective monetization. So once you're actually getting views and subscribers, you have a following online, you really want to focus on effective monetization. Now, a lot of people would argue that you'd actually put this first. If you want to really treat YouTube like a business, you'd actually focus on monetization first. And I would actually agree. You know, if you really do want to treat YouTube like a business, for instance, if you're a business owner or you're a very business-minded person, you actually do want to think like, what can I actually monetize? What can I actually make money from first? Because you're going to be able to make money from a much smaller audience if you focus on monetization. With that being said, a lot of people will grow their channel and then they start focusing on monetization. So you can do one or the other first. Now, when it comes to effective monetization, my best advice here is the most common way that people figure out how to effectively monetize is to just simply look at other people in your niche. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be on YouTube. It could be on a blog, or it could be on Instagram, or another social media platform, etc. But look at other people in your niche and kind of just reverse engineer what they're doing to monetize. That's honestly the best method of monetization. It's also the most common, is to just do what other people are doing, just do it a little bit differently, right? A little bit of a different spin to it. And a lot of the time that will actually work extremely well. And you might try something and it doesn't work out the first time, that's fine. Just try other things, or maybe try that same thing again with a different style of video. But that's the most common method. The second most common method, I feel like I don't really have to go into too much detail on that because it's so obvious, right? The second most common method, and this one is quite effective too, is to survey your audience. Literally just ask your audience what they want. And if you're able to ask them what they want and you survey them the correct way, which, by the way, you can look at my community tab on my main channel, Shane Hummus. I don't think I delete those. I've surveyed my audience many times, right? So you can kind of see exactly how I do it. You can also use Google Forms if you want to survey your audience too. But just ask them, like, what problems do you have? What would you pay me to help you solve? What would you pay me for coaching for, right? Those types of things. And they will literally tell you what they'll pay you money for, right? And that's pretty important for you to do that. Now, once you get to that point where they give you some ideas and they tell you what they'll pay you money for, then you want to actually launch something without actually creating all of it. Maybe you create the first 10% of it, or maybe you don't even create it at all if it's a coaching program, but you want to launch something without actually creating it. You do not want to create it first and then launch it. That's putting the cart before the horse. Because people may say that they'll pay you money to do something, but in reality, when it comes time to actually pull their credit card out and swipe it, for some reason they don't do it. And I have made the painful mistake, and this goes back to the, teaching the younger version of myself. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I have made the painful mistake of creating an entire course that took me 3 months of working like 60 hours a week to create, and then it bombed. And I cannot tell you how painful that is, okay? I hope that you're smarter than me and you just learn from my mistake and you don't do that, and you launch it and sell it before you create it. Okay, this is by far the smartest way to do this. And by the way, the people in Silicon Valley, some of the smartest people in the world, they've pretty much already figured out business. They pretty much turned business into a science. And what this is called is a minimum viable product. So you create a minimum viable product, you launch the minimum viable product, you sell it. When people actually buy it, that's when you invest more time, effort, and money into making the product better. Now, you make sure to give those people extra, what I like to call TLC, tender loving care. Make sure to give them extra tender loving care. Make sure that they get results. You might be thinking, oh, I don't want to give them a crappy product. Well, if you give them extra tender loving care, they're gonna love you, and they're gonna not think that it was a crappy product, right? But yeah, that's how you effectively monetize, right? And the two types of monetization I think are most effective for most people. They're simple. And this is, of course, other than AdSense. Obviously you make money from AdSense. You want to enable monetization there because YouTube will promote your channel more. But the two most effective ones by far, especially for newbies, people that are just starting to monetize, is affiliate marketing. There's people making over millions of dollars a year affiliate marketing. Just as an example, there's people that promote Go High Level, which is a great software for basically doing any type of online business. And it's very, very easy and simple to use for beginners, which makes it great. And it kind of takes like 10 different software that you'd have to buy separately and puts it into one, and it has a pretty reasonable price for all 10 of those. So you save a ridiculous amount of money. But yeah, people promote, Go High Level. They're making $1 million a year. There's some people promoting School that are making really good money, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Both really good products as well. But yeah, find something that you believe in, that you think is a good product, and promote it, right? You can also go to websites, Control F, affiliate, search for the bottom of the website. Sometimes you'll find affiliate programs with them. You can apply for those and then work with those websites. So affiliate is great. The other method that I think is great is just a high ticket product. So either a done for you high ticket product like an agency or a service. So a service would be, let's say you do somebody's resume, and if it's a really high level position, let's just say it's like a really high level cybersecurity position. I have a couple clients working in cybersecurity. You can charge $1,000, $2,000 just to do someone's resume. Executive positions, sometimes $5,000 to do their resume. So that would be an example of a service. A agency would be you run a business's Facebook ads or their TikTok ads or something like that, and you can charge thousands of dollars a month to do that. And then a done with you would be something like coaching. So coaching is where you teach somebody how to do something else and you work very closely with them. A lot of the time with coaching, you'd start off with one-on-one coaching, and you can charge thousands of dollars for that as well. So either affiliate marketing, just because it's so simple, they take care of everything. All you have to do is get the traffic, then you can make pretty decent money from affiliate marketing, or a high ticket product, just because it's by far the best when it comes to monetization. Those are the two that you really want to start with. Now, the next thing that you want to do, and the next thing that I did, is scaling up. So in order to scale up, you really have to do two things. The first thing is you have to have a system, right? You have to really turn your content creation into a system and also your monetization into a system. And this is easier said than done. This is something that took me absolutely years to figure out, how to create an effective, efficient system for content creation, where on my main channel, I only have to spend about maybe an hour a week creating content, somewhere around there, and everything else is taken care of. I went to Thailand, for instance, a few months ago. We kind of ended up getting stuck in there because we had some health issues. We ended up getting stuck in Thailand for an 8-week period. I did not work on my channel except for one day. And that one day I worked about 8 hours on my channel. In fact, I think it was more like 6 hours. And so that just goes to show that the system ran really well. The system was run really well. And then you also want to build a team, right? Team building. That is something that, they'll be the ones who can, run the system for you. And the only thing that you really have to do is just record your videos. They can literally take care of everything else. And in fact, a few of my clients have actually taken themselves out of the recording process as well. So you technically don't even have to record your videos. That's not an option for everyone. I think the power of a personal brand is pretty important. I think for most people, I think they should continue to record their own videos. But it just goes to show that, if you have the right system, if you have the right setup, YouTube does not have to be hard. I know people that spend only an hour a month on YouTube. They're just making really, really basic content. They film it super, super quick. It's easy content to film, and they don't spend that much time at all. So system is an important thing. Hiring the right team of people is important as well. In some cases, you only have to hire one person, right? Even if your content is simple enough, you don't have to hire anyone. But for most people, you can even just hire one person just to help you out. Someone who helps you out with video editing and stuff like that, like a social media assistant manager, like a social media manager, basically. And that's what we do. We hire those people for our clients. And if you want to know more about the system, we actually have some free resources on exactly how the system works. It's a Miro board that shows everything step by step for making a YouTube video. You can check that out down in the description and the pinned comment below. And then, the next phase was just expanding to a second business. So basically my first business, like I said, I solved problems for the past version of myself, which was helping people with education and getting a good job. And then the second business, I literally just did the exact same thing. I taught people how to do what I did in the first business. So that's kind of, a really important thing, because, I had a client a few months ago where she had 20 years of grant writing experience. And I told her, I'm like, that's actually a great niche. You can help a ton of people get much better at writing grants. And for some reason, she decided, I don't want to do that thing that I'm really good at and I'm hyper qualified for, and I could definitely help, thousands of people do better. I want to teach people how to do penny stocks instead, which I don't have any experience with. That's basically what she told me. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And so, yeah, it's just teach people how to do what you're already good at doing, right? It's just that simple. I mean, it might not be the most fun thing in the world, but you're giving a lot of value when you do that. You're giving a ton of value to the world, right? And that's the most important thing. And you can get a lot of satisfaction out of that, knowing that you're useful and you're giving value to the world. So that's what I did with my second business. I basically taught people how to do exactly what I did with my first business, which I got to 7 figures, and then I got my second business now to 7 figures too. That is basically how I turned my YouTube channel into a 7-figure income. It's starting to get a little bit dark now, so I think I'm gonna get out of here. But on this channel, I share all of the information. I give away all the sauce on exactly how to do this yourself, completely free. I typically work with business owners, coaches, consultants, online service providers, agency owners, etc., or people that want to treat YouTube like a business. YouTubers that want to treat YouTube like a business. Those are the types of people I work with. I give away all the information completely free on this channel. However, if you want help with the implementation, go ahead, book a call down in the description and the pinned comment below. I offer a done with you service, and very rarely I offer to work with people done for you. So click the link down in the description and the pinned comment below to check that out. And also check out this video right here that tells you exactly how I got my first business to 7 figures. Have a good one.